tried, as a country, we have done better. As a country, we have done better to put some of these measures in place to make sure that people can, those producing essential items or essential services have their way to go and do and supply whatever they have, so that the citizens or those affected ones can also have easy access to it. I'm just pointing out to you that it's something that I come globally that people were, we were not looking at. They didn't look at expected extent at which this whole issue was. Nobody was expecting it, but it has come. So you have to put some kind of remedies in the place to make sure that you are able to address some of these issues, and that is what we have put in place. That's why we are saying that those in the transport business who transport food items, you can go out to exempt it. I don't know what they may want to get before they know that they have to go out. Okay. You're exempted. Nobody can arrest you.
And you briefed them ahead of the lockdown. You gave them accreditation and briefed them ahead of the lockdown.
We have not given anybody accreditation yet. We have not given anybody. If any transporter needs any accreditation, anything to serve as a pass for him, maybe he want to be sure of that, he can just come to the ministry. It's working. We will give whatever that we have to give it to the person to just also get. But I can tell you, no security person can arrest you if only you are carrying goods. No security person can arrest you in any part of this country, unless you are not carrying foodstuff and you are carrying a different thing. Then you have some questions to answer. But if indeed you are carrying foodstuffs to enter into the lockdown areas, you are free to enter. Nobody can arrest you. Nobody can apprehend you.
Right. Kennedy Nyako says, one of our guests. Let me go to the other line and get a word on this from Mr. Kaiwe. Mr. Kaiwe, you've heard the Deputy Agric Minister. He says that no one will arrest anyone who is trying to cross the borders. They are free to cross, and if there's any problem, they can call the ministry.
But I think that that is not even the point that we are raising. I'm not raising that point that people have been arrested and people have been prevented from bringing in foodstuffs from the hinterland to this place. I have not said that. I have not said that at all. And then we are all in this thing together. We are not trying to subvert anything that has been said by the president or our collective effort to virus. It is what we are looking at to improve upon it. The realities are there. These policies have been outlined. But if you go to the market now, you do not find it. And once you do not find the food there, I am only asking them to go beyond just the policy and thinking that people will react based on the policy to put in place practical measures to get them to actually act in accordance with the policy. For instance, I expect that, one, the ministry should put in place a mechanism to mobilize, identify those food sellers, those truck people, those who transporters, and then get them to pick the food from where it is, because we have been told that some of this food is in warehouses stocked up somewhere else. They should be mobilized and brought to bring in these foodstuffs to the place where it is most needed. I am not everywhere. Certainly, I cannot say that people have been stopped from bringing their food in. That is not the case. But you can go to the market now, you find out that the food is not there. What is the reason? We need to uncover that. It's not just to say that someone is against it or someone is for it. No, that is not the thing. Right. We are all looking at how to enhance the measures that we have put in place as a people to make sure that food is available around this time to the people, particularly those in the locked down areas. And I'm saying that move to Medina Market, move to the market, and you see that people, because people have abandoned the market, people have deserted the market, it has also affected the individual business, because if you're an individual and you bring in the food and there's no one to buy it, certainly you will make losses. So we should move ahead and look at what is on the ground now. No one is against the policy. No one is saying anything to incense people to create panic or not. No. That is not at all. But as a practical person, I am in the lockdown area. I want the food. I cannot get it. So what does that mean? And when we are raising that, then they should let us work together and make sure that the food gets to the people who actually need it. It is not where the food is. No one will disagree, challenge. This is not the time to talk about whether we have the food or we don't have the food, our food stock is there. But what we are saying is that let's mobilize the food wherever it is to where it is most needed. And where it is most needed is in the lockdown areas. And we must work on that. This is all that we are saying within the period that we are under lockdown. And people are doing panic buying, and people are looking for food and they are not getting it. Let them have it. Okay. We are solving problems in context. We are not talking about generality now. I'm not talking about generality about the whole country, but we are talking about the lockdown areas, whether they will get the food there or they don't have the food there. This is what we all need to do and work together to achieve, so that at the close of the day, we will minimize the difficulties that this situation has brought us.
Considering, Mr. Nyako say, considering what Mr. Kariwe has said, has the ministry done any monitoring in the markets to find out how exactly this lockdown is affecting the sale of food, so that any mitigating measures can be put in place?
Yeah, well, Daniel, as at yesterday, we sent our policy department, the research and policy department. They've gone around. I can send you some of the pictures of the market that their food stuff. So I don't know where he got, which of the market that he got, and there were no food items in the market.
He referred to the Medina market.
Well, I am here to get the feedback from but what they've sent to me, the major market that they've visited so far, there are a lot of food in the market. So if he says Medina, I'll take the matter up and I'll find out from Medina. But I just want him to understand that where the policy or the directive is not to just restrict people from not getting access, especially those market women who go to interior or go to outside the region to bring food stuff to the market to feed our people. They can still do whatever that they want to, unless they themselves, because you know the nature of how our food stuff business is. It's not government that goes to the market to bring that kind of food stuff. It's individual that goes and bring the food stuff. So it doesn't get to a point where they say there are no food stuff. So maybe government has to release whatever stocks that it has at maybe the period where we haven't gotten that. This is not 79. Because we've not gotten to that stage. So, I mean, there are a lot of food in the system, which I can assure him, but he has raised some important issues that I think the ministry will take it up. And our concern, when even our people went around, our concern was to go and check the prices. Why people have hiked their prices so high that people cannot even buy the produce. That is what we're looking at. And we're also advising the market women that there are a lot of food items there in the farming area. So you don't need to just increase the prices to deny the ordinary person who doesn't have that kind of purchasing power or doesn't have that kind of money to buy enough to go and stock it. So if you do so, then it means you are depriving those ordinary people. And that is where we're focusing to ensure that those goods in the market, those food items in the market, their prices are relatively normal so that everybody can go and have access to it. And want to also discourage people who go and they say we want to buy 2 weeks items. So the market woman has just 1 bag of maize, want to sell it. Maybe it's targeted for maybe 5 or 10 people. Now 100 people are demanding it. So she or he wants to use the opportunity to also just increase the prices to a certain level that people cannot even buy. So we are trying to make sure that at this 2-week period, people don't take on, our market men or whatever it is, those in the food chain, don't take an undue advantage to just increase price. We know that during this season, March, April, May going, it's a farming season. And that is where you see prices of food items relatively go a little higher, but not to the level that we are experiencing because of the lockdown panic.
I'm curious as to what the ministry wants to do exactly on this, beyond giving advice to some of these market women. But before I come to that, Mr. Nyakote, let me say thank you to Sir Edward Kariwe, General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, for joining us this morning. I believe the issues are being addressed. Thank you very much, Mr. Kariwe, for joining us. We will keep Mr. Nyakose on the line, though, because we still have Reverend Professor Ivy Drafo Amenya, agricultural economist, who will be joining us to also add her voice to the conversation we are having and give us some analysis of our current situation. Mr. Osei, let's begin to talk about the availability of food for our consumption generally, before we even get to the economics and how much we are buying it for. We currently consume 1.1 million tons of rice in a year. We, however, produce 700,000 tons of rice in a year. And so there is a shortfall. We know that imports and exports are not exactly what they used to be in this period of COVID-19. Some countries are shutting their borders to exports, for instance. What are the plans we are putting in place as a ministry to ensure that we get basic commodities like rice to eat?
Okay, so 2019, our rice production in this country was 963,000 metric tons. Okay, of paddy rice. These are paddy rice. The one that you mentioned were the milled rice. As I speak to you, we have enough paddy rice in the system that needs to be milled, and the president has directed the finance minister to make available an amount of 300 million Ghana cedi, give 200 million to this rice millers, those who produce poultry feed and soya bean, so that they can go out and buy all those paddy rice in the system and mail it, so that within this 2 weeks period or even beyond, we can get enough of our local rice on the market to consume. He has also given 100 million to buffer stock to also go and get some of the essential food items like cooking oil, tomatoes, you name it, and other stuff, and stock it, so that when we get to a time that it becomes, maybe the lockdown has to be extended to a point that maybe we will need a lot of food to supply to the people, they can release those items in the market.
Right.
Yes, it is true that our consumption rate is 1.1 billion. Yes, it is true. I'm sure those rice that we got in the system, some are still there. The local ones are still there. We are monitoring the system. If our people will consume what we are producing currently, the local rice that we have, if we are going to consume it, then there will not be any cause for alarm. Then we will not be thinking about how to bring rice from Thailand or from India or from whatever part of the world. If they decide to consume the local ones that we have, and you can go to Sogokope area, you can have so many of the local rice people there. They are selling it, okay? And even when you go to the Mokola market and all this, you will still get some of the local ones. But as a country, majority of us have this kind of taste for foreign goods. So you go and see the Ghana rice there, or let's say the locally produced rice there, very nutritious. But you pass by and go and buy some other foreign brand. So I think for now there's no cause for alarm. I want to allay the fears of many people that there's going to be a shortage of food. It cannot be possible, because this lockdown is for only 2 regions.
Even if it's extended?
Yes, because those people in the 14 regions are still in the farm producing. It's a matter of getting those produce to these 2 lockdown regions. And that is why we are encouraging. If we get to a point that people are not going for it, and we have to release what we have in buffer stock, we will do it. But we haven't gotten to even that point. For us to even say that we want to release our stocks from our warehouses to the market, we haven't gotten there. There are enough food. If you do so, it means those farmers who have those items in the other part of the country, they're going to perish. They're going to spoil. Nobody's going to buy them. So we need to encourage the market women and the transport to go there and get the food items to the market center, to the lockdown areas, so that those farmers who have toiled, spend so many months or weeks or hours working in the farm to produce those items, to also be able to get benefit from whatever they produce or from their sweat, so that the items don't get perished or they don't get spoiled in the farm. So they have kept it. So that is why we are encouraging people. So for now, we have enough. There are a lot of surpluses in the system. We have enough.
This 300 million Ghana cedis that is supposed to be given to millers to mill the paddy rice in the system, has it been released already?
Well, the directive was just given 2 days ago by the president that the finance minister has to make that money available. The model the mode that they are going to use in dispersing the fund, I'm sure by now they will be working on it. I don't have the first-hand information, but I'm pretty much aware. I was in the meeting where my minister informed all of us that the president has directed that such an amount should be released and 100 million should be given to buffer stock to also add it to their capital to mop up whatever items that they can. Especially the essential, the most common one that everybody goes to market to buy: tea, tomatoes, cooking oil, that stuff that we need to get it. They need to get all those items. And the 200 million to also go help those millers. You know, there are some of these millers, they need money to go and buy the paddy. They don't have the money. How do they go and buy the paddy? We also need those rice to be milled so that we our market and give it to our people to eat. So government said, let me put. These are some of the ways or the interpretation or the directive that government takes. I just want to sell the I have, and I'm not going to go out again to bring whatever food stuff in by the close of the week. There are a lot of food that will come into the system or into the lockdown areas, and you see everybody can go and even prices will even come down. Because now those who went in a rush to buy food, they are not going to the market anymore. So if
on the subject of prices, Mr. Nyakote, since you mentioned that prices will come down. Because we'll have excesses. Dr. Osefri Akoto, your boss, mentioned that there's no need for price control measures because commodities will come in the market. Questions have been raised about how there are some commodities we don't have a control over. For instance, we spend $100 million in importing onions from Niger. We import 75,000 tons of tomatoes into the country. So these are not exactly in our control, and if government does not step in, as has been done in other jurisdictions, the market may price out some people in society, and they won't have economic access to this food.
Yes. So, these items that you are mentioning, it's true that the country for some years largely have been dependent on onions from Niger and other parts, tomatoes from Burkina Faso. But in this country, there are a lot of farmers that produces onion here and tomatoes here. If only Ghanaians would develop that kind of taste and love for what our farmers are producing locally. Now, we will not go and say that, these tomatoes that we are producing here, it is very soft. It's not hard like the one coming from Burkina Faso. So we will rather go for the one that are coming from Burkina Faso, and that we don't want this. If you go to Kwao area, they produce a lot of onions. If you go to the northern area, there are a lot of onions. But you see, at the end of the day, the farmer goes to the farm, produces all these items. Then the one now has to go to the market to buy, goes there and say, I like this from Burkina Faso. I like the way it tastes. I like the way it is. We need to encourage ourselves to consume what our farmers are producing. Then all this fear of food items not coming from places, other countries to this to our country within this period that every country is struggling to contain the COVID-19, then this fear will be allayed.
Now, Mr. Nyako, just quickly, in the Nigeria example, earlier this year, we saw that there were deliberate attempts by governments to legislate the taste of the citizenry by reducing the imports of some commodities into the country, with the rice example. So is that something that the government of Ghana must consider if we want to encourage Ghanaians to, consume locally?
We have given ourselves by 2022 as a country to be self-sufficient when it comes to rice production. That's our target. We are getting there gradually. Until we get to a point that we become self-sufficient, it will not be wise or advisable to just say that you've cut or you stop importation of certain items, or less especially rice, into the country. So gradually, we'll start reducing importation of rice per what we are producing locally. Then by 2022, we are going to stop it. Our target is, if we are not even stop it 100%, at least by 90%, we should stop 90% importation of rice into this country.
So that point, Mr. Nyako, say we are not self-sufficient?
Currently, we are not self-sufficient. You mentioned it, that we are consuming, as at 2019, our consumption, let's say as at 2018, our consumption rate was about 1.1. It was projected to grow to about 1.37, okay, in 2019. So every year, our consumption rate of certain items keeps growing up, because now rice has become a staple food. Every household that you go in this country, about 30 million population, I'm sure that you will not have less than 10 million each day consuming anything about rice. They all consume. So just it tells you how people. So this is a very big opportunity for us as a country.
Kennedy Nyako, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're Deputy Minister in charge of crops at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. I don't know what your thoughts are about Mr. Kennedy Nyako's submissions. He said that, look, the market women have no reason, first of all, to increase their prices so much. There's a lot of food in the other 14 regions of the country which are not under lockdown, and all these truckers and all these farmers are allowed to come in with their food. So there's nothing we need to be worried about. Reverend Professor Ivy Drafo Aminga, who is an agricultural economist, has joined us on the line to give us her thoughts on the conversation that we've been having. Reverend, thank you very much for joining us.
You are most welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. So given the figures that you've heard this morning and given the conversation that you've heard this morning, would you say that indeed there is nothing for the average Ghanaian out there to worry about in this period of lockdown?
First of all, we are faced with a health crisis globally. And the concern is that this health crisis does not become a food crisis. And I was happy when you talked about the definition for food security. At all times, all people, at all times, having physical and economic access to sufficient food. So the issues are many. Right now, there are restrictions of people movement. There are restrictions in trade, which are causing disruptions. There are disruptions with availability, with access, which will affect utilization and stability. What I was saying is that food security has 4 legs. There are 4 very important dimensions that we need to pay attention to, and all these dimensions have to be fulfilled simultaneously for us to say that there is food security. Having said that, what we are experiencing now is a transitory, is temporary, short-term, and can be very, it can go away. Mm-hmm. However, we need to act promptly. If we don't act promptly, then there can be more serious challenges. I like to agree with the chief economist of the World Food Summit, Arif Hussein, who says that it's too early for us to have any accurate assessment of the impact of COVID-19 on global economy end on food security. And so what we need to be aware of is right now, some of the short-term measures we need to have is a lot of education. And the education has to be very objective. I think that we have to all be very non-partisan in discussing these issues. One of the challenges, and one of the speakers mentioned it clearly, is the issue of poverty. In Ghana, we have quite a high level of poverty, and that in itself will be affecting the access to food, no matter how much food is available. And we know that right now there are disruptions in the market because of restrictions in movement, in people movement. There are restrictions in trade. There are countries that would rather keep the food for their people rather than sell it to the global market so that they can be assured of availability in the long term. So with poverty, some of our people cannot have food. They cannot access food for themselves. They can't access food now. They will have to be going out to buy food every day, and that is a disruption.
So what's the solution in there?
The solution is education. The solution is a lot of education so that people don't panic. And so another solution which is very important, and I have been thinking of what we are going to be doing with the money we are setting aside, because we need social protection. There are families that cannot afford the food at all. Several countries are putting a lot of social protection mechanisms in place. For example, Hong Kong is giving universal basic income to several people, millions of people. Japan is giving people money to stay at home. Portugal is supporting the self-employed. And so we need to know that there are a lot of vulnerable people in Ghana, and we need to give them money to buy the food. Otherwise, they will be hungry. They will be food insecure. And we will be thinking that we have food available, but access, utilization, and stability. What we need now is to look ahead. We need long-term solutions. We need to think ahead so that we can prepare properly. We don't know. Nobody knows how long the quarantine period is going to be over. Therefore, short-term, medium-term, and long-term mechanisms need to be put in place.
Reverend Ivy Drafo-Amenya, thank you very much for joining us this morning. She brings it home by mentioning how, fine, there is excess food in the market, but people may not have the money to buy it. So if we really want to achieve food security, it means we must give people money to buy food. It comes back, Winston, to social protection. Back to the very conversation we're having with Reverend Sam Kwanchi-Ankra. In a minute, Winston.
Sure. So, Daniel, I like what she said, but listening to the Deputy Minister in charge of crops also, he makes a point. He talks about the fact that until we are food sufficient, we cannot ban imports. And you put a very good question to him that, look, so if we are not food sufficient and because of COVID-19, a lot of countries are also refusing to export their produce, what it then means is that we have a challenge facing us, and that challenge is the ability to get exports into the country, imports into the country when it comes to food. How is he dealing with that? Well, he says that they release some funds. All we would have to do is to cross-check and see when those funds come in and how they would ameliorate the situation.
Winston, thanks so much. It's 9:30 a.m. exactly. You're live on the Super Morning Show on Joy997 FM. There's a lot more of the conversation coming up. I want to know what you think about what you've heard. For me, the irony is that we're having this economic conversation with the Deputy Agric Minister about how we can make sure that the food produced reaches the market. And we come back to the Agric economist who tells us, look, it comes down to social protection. So I want you to know, Do you think we are doing enough as a country to protect the vulnerable and the needy? How can we bridge that gap? When we come back, we'll talk to you. Yes, I mean you listening to us. Stay with us.
Every child needs to learn and play. That's why I give my kids Go TV, the best choice for kiddie edutainment. With lots of fun and educative channels for all ages, like Da Vinci, PBS Kids, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Jam Jam, and Disney Junior. Learning the fun way never stops. So, mommies and daddies, keep the children playing and learning whilst at home. For sales and customer service, SMS Go TV to 1731. Go TV. Live it. Love it.
Ojam, why you make quiet like that?
Oh, Charlie, I'll go do some POP, give somebody where the cornice is not fine,
I always they tell you, see, for decorative roses and cornices, the solution be interface. They have different imported cornices and roses in different designs and shapes. Installing them be so easy, and it go give your customer the finishing he wants.
Ojam, take me go Interface right now before I lose this customer.
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274-999999 or visit our website at www.interfacelimited.com.
What would you do if you have the chance to do anything in life? Build your dream house, take very good care of your family, and plan for a comfortable retirement. Plan a befitting funeral for your loved ones when they depart. How would you live if you knew there was a friend waiting to support you on all of your life's choices?
You have such a friend in Glyco Life Insurance. Glyco Life has all the plans to meet your life's needs. Your child's education, your life savings, your mortgage, funerals, redundancy, and your retirement, and takes the burden off your shoulders. So go ahead and live life to the fullest today with Glyco Life Insurance plans. And remember that all our policies are hedged against inflation. Talk to Glyco Life on 0302 218 500 or 246 142. Also visit our website at www.glycolife.com or any of our branches nationwide for more information.
Glyco Life, we cushion you for life.
Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Syndicated Capital introduces the Silent Night range of luxury mattresses and pillows. And for the first time, the Silent Night pregnancy and nursing pillows crafted to provide exceptional relief for your legs, belly, and back during pregnancy, as well as amazing back support feeding your baby. No more sleepless nights and no more hustle with breastfeeding. Check out the Super Pillow Top Orthopedic Mattress, made with 12 inches of memory foam cushioning, providing unparalleled comfort and guaranteed to last for 20 years. No mattress comes close in comfort and support. Also available are high-quality bed sheets, reversible quilts, a large collection of orthopedic pillows and luxurious towels at unbelievable prices. Silent Night products are available at all Melcom shops, game stores, and Silent Night showrooms at Tema, Asylum Down, Adenta, Spintex Road, and Kumasi behind Minshia Palace, or call 0302-242532 or 050-131-5776. Silent Night. Sleep like never before.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
We
we promised, we delivered a new learning experience. Joy Learning, Ghana's first ever educational television channel, is here. It is well accepted by the students and highly recommended by the teachers. Let's hear what they have to say.
Joy Learning has brought me a lot of benefits academically. The channel has helped me to improve on my vocabulary when I watch the English lesson.
During my vacation, I dedicated my time watching the Joy Learning channel. And trust me, a lot of the lessons taught were very helpful, especially with my elective subjects.
As a secondary school teacher, the Joy Learning channel and their programs have helped greatly. I sometimes revise my method of teaching, and I recommend that parents should encourage their wards to find time to watch the channel.
The Joy Learning channel has really come at the most appropriate time. Our students on the double track system can enjoy normal classroom lessons when they are even on vacation. Parents should buy the multi-TV digiboxes so their wards can have access to the rich educational material on the channel.
In collaboration with our partners, SES, Kenneth, and Wilwa Free, we bring you the best of your classroom experience on your television in the comfort of your home and everywhere. Joy Learning. Keep learning.
Welcome back. It's 24 minutes, so we wrap up today's Super Morning Show. Enjoy 99.7 FM. I'm Daniel Dazi. Thanks for staying with us. Now, like we said earlier, we ended the conversation with the Deputy Minister for Agriculture, the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, and the agri-economist, Reverend Professor Ivy Draffa-Amenga, about food security by really talking about social protection and how we must extend a hand to the needy and the vulnerable, just like what we were talking about earlier, right? So we would take it back to that conversation by speaking to Bishop James Sarr of Action Chapel International, for him to add his voice as well to this call on churches, religious organizations, to reach out a hand to persons who are less privileged in society. Bishop, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you and good morning.
So earlier we're speaking to Reverend Sam Kranche Ankra, who expressed how it is key for any church organization to also think of those who are less privileged and needy in society, if we are indeed fulfilling the call of God. You agree?
Absolutely. It's founded on God's word. And I believe that's the premise upon which he built whatever he said. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think we should agree that, first of all, biblical mission is holistic in the sense that it incorporates physical, spiritual, psychological needs. You can see that in Matthew chapter 9. So there are two major angles in addressing it. I didn't listen to my brother's presentation, but as a very knowledgeable pastor, I'm sure he brought up the fact that when we talk about the gospel, even though it's largely misunderstood, it's on secular, talking about the Great Commission versus the Great Commandment. That is where it stands. The Great Commission, go ye. Great Commandment, love your neighbor. Matthew chapter 22 and Matthew chapter 28. So that settles the issue up front.
Okay. The question then becomes, how is it expressed? Some people argue that if I do it in secret, then I'm doing it. So I don't necessarily, as a church organization, need to demonstrate that I'm showing love. And so I shouldn't be questioned on how I show love.
Oh, I think that begs the point. I believe that truth includes both material and spiritual realities. Let's go back to the Bible. When we go to Acts chapter 11, without reading it, 27 to 30, the Bible speaks about a great famine, maybe equivalent to what we are facing throughout the world. And the church gathered relief supplies and others to help the folks elsewhere. So the church did it there. And today, too, it's the same thing the church is doing, I guess. Is that not the point?
Oh, yeah, there are a number of church organizations who are doing this. And, we acknowledge that. Now, the question has also become, and I asked this earlier, of members who may not feel like their organizations are doing enough. In the era where we are to honor the man of God and we are not to touch the anointed, how do we raise this issue and ensure that the right thing is done where we worship?
I think you should realize that when we talk about Madame Teresa and the ladies, the missionaries of the streets of Calcutta in India, the Catholic Church is a far older church. And we take a clue and direction from some of the good deeds they have done throughout history Good point. If you talk about the Pentecostal movement, it's a far younger institution. But if you consider the fact that we are partners in development with the government for peaceful coexistence and partners in development with governments and the state, you can see universities that have been built by charismatic churches, Pentecostal churches, grant is that a lot more is being done. Let's face facts. If you look at the television and you listen to radio and you go on social media, it's expressive. Many churches, even big churches. The other day, just this week, I saw my Archbishop on the road himself. So, 14 days with a lot of power and grace. God gave me new revelation about many things into the future. There's no time to waste. You can waste it if you want. But I believe it's also an opportunity. Good things come out of bad situations. That's the way life is structured. Throughout all the crises in history, economic, that's when big companies are born. CNN.
That you can waste the time if you want, but there really is no time to waste.
Yeah.